It's the third week of April, and once again we have a lesson that is thinking about and being inspired by the outdoors. I hope everyone has gotten out. We've had some beautiful days to get outside and walk and ride bikes and play. And when you've been outside, you've probably noticed that there are a lot of bugs flying around. We've noticed a lot of bugs. So our lesson today I like to call Blotto Bugs, because you're going to see why we blot some paint. Sophia can focus in on the bugs that are the samples. Okay, and you can see that our bugs are very colorful. This is a lot of fun, this lesson, because we use some really brightly colored paints and bright papers. And let's start by going over our supplies, Sophia. So we have, oh, Kitty wants in.
There's our kitty.
You want to let her in, Soph?
Yep.
Okay, let the kitty
There she
in.
is.
Come on in, baby.
There she is.
Okay, so for today's lesson, we're going to need a variety of colors of paints, and hopefully you have some tempera paints, or these are acrylics. I have a lot of acrylics at home because I use acrylics a lot in my decorative painting. But watercolor paints would even work with this as well. It'd be a little harder, but you'd have to just really make sure that you get a lot of paint on your brush to get brilliant colors. A water container, a large brush, pencil, piece of paper towel, glue, scissors. If you have a hole punch, that can be nice to use to make the pupils for our bug's eyes. Paper plate or something to use as a palette for your paints. It can be a paper plate, a plastic lid, aluminum foil, any of those things work. And then we also need some brightly colored construction paper, or this is computer paper. We have a lot of brilliant colored computer paper at school, which has really been wonderful to use for art projects. And then I would also include black. If you have any black, that's a good color to have as well. And then we need a larger piece of white paper. Okay.
Mom, did you want to call out some of the friends who sent in pictures?
Yes, thank you so much for reminding me. I'm so happy, pleased to see the pictures of projects that have been completed. Dylan, I saw your birdhouse, and Odie and Hattie Joe posted some pictures of projects that they had worked on. So keep up the good work, everybody, and I love seeing the work. So please send it in to the Northside website so all can see. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me, Sophia. Okay, so with our large piece of white paper, we are going to fold our paper in half, what we call the hot dog way or the long way, all right? And parents might have to help a little bit with this. I'm not sure if I said this lesson is intended for enrichment and preschool, but there are a lot of steps that are going to need some help. For starters, folding the paper the hot dog way. That's kind of tricky for some of our younger friends, all right? So now we have two halves that are long and narrow, okay? So on this piece of paper, we are going to be making spots of color that will be made into our bugs, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a spot of, I'm going to start with, I think, warm colors. I'm going to start with yellow and orange. All right, so one of my bugs, I'm going to use the colors yellow and orange. All right, and I'm going to just make basically kind of a circular blob. All right, so there's my blob. All right, and I'm going to put a little orange in there too. All right, I'm just going to kind of add some orange, maybe a little more yellow. All right, and then this is the fun part. I'm going to take my piece of paper, fold it back over and rub, rub, rub. All right. All right, then we open it up and see what happened. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we get some very interesting mixtures of our paints. All right, so I like that one. All right, I'm gonna rinse my brush out a little bit. And I think I'm going to, my next one, I wanna do some red and yellow too. So I'm going to go ahead and put some red here. And I will dry out my brush a little bit. That's gonna be a little too wet. All right, put some red here. All right, this time I'm gonna make kind of a, maybe a triangular more shape. All right, and I'm gonna put some yellow on here and see what happens. Maybe a little orange there.
So we probably don't want to do colors that are opposite on the color wheel, right? Because then we'll make brown.
I am so glad you pointed that out, Sophia, because this is something that does happen a lot when the friends have learned that when we mix the three primary colors together, which I'm sure they can remember what they are, they're red, yellow, and blue. And when we mix them all together, we basically get brown. And sometimes we want brown, but other times we would rather not. So this time, again, I've put yellow. I started with red, and then I put a little bit of yellow and some orange on top, and let's see what happens. These are our warm colors. All right, rub, rub, rub. Pull it apart, and let's see what happened. Ooh, nice again. All right.
Very nice.
And then now let's go into our cool colors. All right. Cool colors are purples, blues, greens. All right. So let's just try something here. Since we have a little bit of red, I'm going to try something. See what happens. All right, let's see if we can actually make a cool color. I'm going to put some red here. This time I'm just going to do kind of another circular shape. All right, I might need a little more red. And I'm going to add a little bit of my lighter blue and see what happens. I think some of my friends may have a guess. We've done this in school. I'm going to see what happens when we mix our red and our blue together. What color are we going to make here? All right, let's take a look. Fold my paper back over, and I'm going to rub, 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 and hope for the best. See what we made. Open it up. Ooh. Ooh, look at that, my friends. Looks when we mixed red and blue, we got some purple in there too. Isn't that pretty? Okay, maybe we should let's do one more. They're just so much fun to make. All right, so I'm gonna put that aside for a second. Get another piece of paper out. Hopefully I can do that without toppling my stuff here. Let me see, yep, I got it. There we go. All right, again, fold our paper the hot dog way. It's easiest if you kind of start in the middle. Crease and then press and crease, press and crease. I have kind of thick paper, so it's especially hard to fold. All right, so this time I am really going to go for the cool colors, and I'm going to start with some green. Oh, maybe I'll start with the light green. I kind of like that light green. Let's do some light green and maybe this color blue. If I can reach it. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Let's try this one. It's a little bit darker. All right. Now my brush is probably getting pretty dirty. I think I'm going to have to rinse my brush. Give me a second, Sophia.
You can say hello to Melly in the meantime.
should have better luck with this if we don't have the other warmer colors mixed in. Okay, so I've got, this time I'm gonna use a green, a light green. And kind of like what Sophia said, if we mix too many colors together, we're going to end up with brown. So I'm basically just using 2 colors to make my Blotto Bug. All right, let's try that. See what happens. Fold and rub. And see what happened. Ooh, I like that a lot. All right, okay, let's do one more. I'm just having too much fun, I can't help myself. All right, so here's a bluish green, because I'm using my blue and green together to almost come up with I would say a teal or an aqua. All right, and then I think I want to try a little bit of this purple in there. This is a lighter purple. Let's see how that looks. Just a little bit in there, and let's see what happens. Ooh, that's interesting too. Okay, so we've got lots of choices now. In the interest of time, I'm not going to be using these papers that we just did because they're too wet. So I have a couple of papers that I've painted before I started the lesson, and we'll use those. So let me just set these aside for a minute. Okay, so we've got our samples over there, and here are some that are dry. So we've got one here, and I've got, well, this is enough to start with right now. So if you look at our bug, let's look at one at a time. So if we look at this bug, we can see that his body parts are really made up of very simple shapes, all right? The basic body is a circle. The head, again, is a circle. And even the tail is a circle that has just been glued underneath. Let's flip it over so we can see, all right? So we glue some of them underneath. And now our wings, again, they can be, let's see, where's our other sample? Okay, that one, our wings can be an oval shape with a point. They could also be just a simple triangle. Very simple shapes work. Then you can also notice that on our bugs, I have made sure that they have some features. This bug has eyes, has a little tongue. This bug has eyes, antenna. We also have legs that we can put onto our bugs if we want to. And these features, I'm making the extra features with the solid colors of construction paper. All right, so let's try doing one together. So I have a pencil. I'm going to take my pencil, and this bug I'm going to have made out of just a circle. I don't even think, I almost don't even need to make the circle on here, but if you want to, you can take a pencil and make a circular shape. All right, I'm gonna take my scissors, cut out my shape. We find that it's easier to cut something out if we have cut down the space around it into a more manageable size. So if I was trying to cut using this whole large paper, much harder. So we cut a small piece out. Now I can work with cutting out my circle. Again, remember, you can keep turning your paper so it's easy for you to cut. You don't have to hold it in one place and struggle. Keep turning the paper. All right. So my circle got a little smaller than I really intended it to, so I think I'll make that as the head. All right, so there's my head. I think this is a nice size for the body. I'm going to, again, cut it out of the large piece of paper so that it's easier for me to cut. I'll set that aside. This I'm going to have as the body for this bug. All right, and I think it's going to be kind of an oval shape. I'm sort of just following what I have here. All right. And I like the way on this piece you can see how the green and the yellow mix together. All right, so there's the body of my bug. There's a head. All right, I think I want to make wings. And I think, let's see, I would like my wings to be orange and red as well. So I am going to use this part of this paper. Again, I will cut out a smaller part so it's easier for me to cut. And I think I want to make my wings ovals that are pointed on the end. So I'm going to draw them onto my painted paper here. There's one wing and here's another. All right. So we're going to cut those out. Remembering, if you'd like, you can cut on the inside of the pencil line so we don't see the pencil lines once we glue them onto our bug. All right. There's one. And let's get our second wing cut out. Oh, there's our kitty. I think she's hungry. She will have to wait. All right, there's another wing. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got so far. It looks like our bug is going to need some eyes, all right? I think this one I would like to put eyes and maybe some antenna as well. All right, so let me look at my color choices here. Here are my construction paper color choices. Let's see, I think I would like maybe orange eyes with a yellow iris and then black pupils. All right, so my eyes, again, I'm going to make them pretty much the same shape that I made the wings. I'm just going to make them quite a bit smaller, all right? So an oval with a point, oval with a point. And let's cut those out. We'll do the same thing. We'll cut out a small section of the larger paper to make it easier for us to cut. Cutting inside the pencil line. This is a little tricky because it's getting very small. There's one eye. And another eye. Whoops, drop that. Got it back. All right, there we go. So we have two eyes. I would like to put an iris, and I'm going to make that yellow. Now, I happen to have one of these cool tracing things. Where did that go? Okay, here it is. All right, I don't know if anybody has any of these type of tracers that have circles and shapes on them. If you do at home, it makes making circles much easier. So if you have one of these, go ahead and use it. I'm going to take a pencil. I think this size hole would probably be right about the right size. So let me trace and trace because I need two of them. All right. Cut out a small section so it's easier to cut. Now this part, I think parents might have to do. This is very small. Okay, but friends are welcome to try. I'm struggling a little bit because I don't have my glasses. Are they on the top of my head, Sophia?
Yeah.
All right, let me get my glasses. That would be helpful. Aha, much better. Okay, now I can see. And the kitty's getting very, very hungry. All right. Okay. All right. Got two irises. All right. And then if I'd like, I can also add a pupil. And I have a little bit of kind of faded black paper, but it will work. And I'm going to take a hole punch, squeeze, squeeze. And let's see, they usually just get trapped in this little part and then fall out. There they are. All right, so let's take our glue, and we might want to assemble our eyes here before we lose all of our pieces, okay? So this is my head. I'm gonna put my eyes on here. A little bit of glue, not a lot, my friends. All right. And second eye shape. Dot, not a lot. Do the same with the irises. One tiny dot will do it. Tiny dot. All right. And let's put those pupils on as well, if I can find them. There's one. Tiny dot, really tiny on this. It's a very small little dot. Okay. Almost takes up the entire iris. See if I can find the other one. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay, just a tiny bit of glue on there. And, oops, come back here. Uh-oh. Got stuck on a different spot. Okay, there we go. Oh, I kind of folded it. Oh boy. Hold on. Let's do that. You know what? I think I'm going to make another one of those. I didn't like the way that turned out. And let me get this getting stuck. There we go. All right. Oh, move that too. I want this to be moved a little bit more like that. There we go. All right, let's do one more pupil. See if that one comes out a little better. Oh yeah, that is better. It's a little more crisp. There we go. Tiny bit of glue. All right, so now our bug has eyes. I can also glue my bug head by putting a little bit of glue on one end onto the body. All right, I'm not going to put it all the way over because part of that head is sticking outside the body. So some glue on the end. There we go. There's a head. Let's put our wings on. Same thing. I will not put glue on the entire back of the wing, maybe half of it, so that half can hang off the side. There we go. All right, we're getting there. All right, so I think our bug could use a tail. What do you think, Soph?
I think it could use some legs.
Some legs.
I love the legs on this guy.
All right, well, let's go for legs then. All right, so let's see how we did that. If you take a look at this and you flip it over, you can see that the legs have been glued on the back. Actually, it makes it easier to see them if I flip it over. This is kind of a funny shape. It almost looks like frog. Yes, exactly. All right, so let's make a couple frog legs. And the easiest way to do this is to fold your paper over so that you get two legs that are exactly the same. All right, so let's see if we can draw a leg. And parents might have to help with this. Basically a zigzag line, and then with a little foot on the bottom. All right. All right, let's cut that out and see if we get a nice looking leg. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut out a portion of our paper so that we find it easier to cut. Cut around that little foot. And your legs, my friends, could also just be straight. I'll do a little sample of that too. Okay, so there's one. These are the zigzag legs, which could come out the back here. Like that. It's kind of silly, doesn't it? Okay, or your legs could also just be straight with a little foot on the bottom, a little half circle. And let's see how that, maybe we'll put that kind of a leg in the front. All right. All right, so that could work for a couple of front legs here. All right, so we're getting a bug that looks pretty cool. What do you think we should add next, Sophia?
Well, I saw you added some, maybe some antenna. I can't
Oh
decide.
yes, I like the antenna. I'm going to move this here so we can see it better. All right, if it's on white background, it is much more visible. And let's go ahead and glue our legs on too, okay? So we want our zigzag legs to come off the bottom. And once again, we're not going to put glue on the entire leg, just on the part that's going to be glued onto the back. All right, so let's put a little bit right here on the end.
So when these are done, do you think we could put them up in the window?
Ooh, I like that
for
idea.
everyone in the neighborhood to see?
Excellent idea.
A lot of people have been putting artwork in their windows.
They have, and we've really been enjoying seeing that. It just makes us smile. All right, I'm going to do the same with this, a little bit just on the end so that it's coming off. All right, let's flip it over and see what we've got, if we like the way it looks. And that's what we've got so far. So what do you think we should add next, Sophia? Do you like the antenna?
I like the antenna.
All right, so let's see how we did the antenna. 2 straight pieces that are pretty much like a leg. What color should we choose, Sophia? These are our choices over here.
Maybe yellow.
Okay, I think yellow would be good for this part, the stem part.
Maybe green.
All right, let's give it a try. We're going to make, I think, about that long, I would say. 1 and 2. All right, there's 2 antennae. And then do you think we should put green at the top?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and this time I think I'm going to make it, do you think I should make it the diamond shape again?
Sure.
All right.
Or you could do a circle or something.
I was thinking a circle would be even a little more simple. If I could find my tracing. Oh, here it is. Here it is. My little tracer. Okay. So I would say what size? Maybe that big size, and then I'll just cut it down a little bit. Okay. Because when you cut, usually it gets smaller anyway because you're cutting inside of the pencil line. All right, so there we go. We've got our kind of largish circles for the ends of our antenna. I will cut inside the pencil line so they'll be a little smaller anyway. Here's one. And let's cut the other one. This part's a little tricky, my friends, so you can take your time. All right, let's glue our antenna. I'm going to flip our little bug over. Again, do the same thing. We won't put glue all the way along, just maybe on the end part. All right, and put our antenna here. There's one. On the back side, we're gluing on the back side. A little bit on just the end part. Have it going like that. Let's flip them over. All right. I should maybe put them a little closer. Yeah, like that. All right. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the end here and then put our green circle on top of that dot. Dot, not a lot. All right. What do you think of that, Sophia?
Love it.
Okay. And you can continue to make more and more details onto your bug if you wanted to. So you could add extra papers of solid construction paper or your painted pieces inside this. You could add another piece inside here. All kinds of room for creativity and adding whatever you think looks good. All right, so I think that is going to be all that we're going to do today. And you can see that you can use all of your papers once they're dry. You do have to wait for them to dry. You can see we've got some really cool looking papers here that I would love to use, but weren't quite dry yet. So have fun with your Blotto Bugs, folding and rubbing and squishing all your paints, and I would love to see some of your bugs when you finish them. Please send in some photos to Northside. Okay, friends, have a great week. See you next week. Bye.